But getting back to this game that I never left. For those of you that's already connected with my Facebook page, you guys already knew to share the video the moment you came in. You already knew to like it. You already knew to share it. You already know we don't do no weak ass videos, especially no lives. And today we got the incomparable, you know what I mean? As I like to say, you know how I be talking about, you know what I mean? A pimp's mind is supposed to be the museum of game. Yeah, you know what I mean? Well, this next representative, you know what I mean, that I'm bringing, that I'm blessing y'all with today, you know what I mean? That's one of the people that I was talking about. Witty, sharp, the informative representative of life and the lifestyle, you know what I mean? Just cold-witted, personality and all. You know what I mean, glorified the lifestyle even after being out of the lifestyle by even furthering his education. You know, his representation, you know what I mean, is just basically highly spoken of even by squares. You know what I mean? No other than Rosebud. You know what I mean? What's going on, Bud? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm fine, and I'm really glad you invited me on. But after that introduction, I feel like I better not say nothing, man. I'm gonna let everybody down, man. hey, but you know what, man? There's one thing that I love about this game. A mother is not at a loss for words. You know,
No.
I'm sure your people listen to you and they be wondering how you come up with all this stuff to say. And my shows, I tell them, I come up with all this stuff to say because I ain't coming up with nothing, because everything is true. This stuff is all true.
Right.
And the truth is easy to talk about, bro.
Exactly. No made up shit, no written shit, no you know what I mean, premeditated shit. It's just there, you know? And I'm just so glad that we finally, because I had called you the other day, some of you had jumped up in my comment section with some bullshit, man. That had the audacity to say, yes, you know, Sin don't like Rosebud, you know what I mean? He don't like Rosebud. And I want to tell you, I don't know who the fuck you heard that from, who told you that bullshit, but I've never said anything negative about Rosebud. You ain't never heard me, matter of fact, not just Bud, you ain't never heard me dislike or say anything negative about any legend in the game. You know what I mean?
Hey, Simple, I hate to cut you off, but what I'm really finna say, I believe this to my heart, man. People will say some of the most ignorant things. Why? Because that's all they know, man. You a big guy, I'm a big guy, so you gotta hate me. They don't know that we know that even though the top of the heap, the penthouse of this game is small as the tip of a needle, but we know that tip of a needle can hold thousands of us as long as we can get up there. So I know you ain't said nothing about me, and if I would have heard it, I would have just took it as Facebook gossip, because that's all that bullshit is. I mean, that's Facebook, social media gossip.
Right, exactly. But before I even get started, I wanted to, get your experience that you had with Doobie. As you know, Doobie has went on, and God has called him home. So before we even get started, I wanted to get an opportunity to hear about your experiences when you met Doobie. What year was it when you first met Rolls Royce Doobie?
Let me tell you something, brother. I met Doobie before all that Rolls. Now, Shantae know him way before me, but I met him when we was driving Cadillacs about 78. And I had been knowing him for a while, but Doobie was a dude from the other side of town. I forget what actual side he's from, but he wasn't one of them Hollywood. He was from, I think he's from the west side. I'm not sure. But when he came to town, he naturally, he knew cricket. He knew all the players, because he was a mother that was somebody on the west side. But Doobie, he was basically doing other things than having hoes. Now, when he came and he, met us, and, we all get cool, he wanted to have hoes. So Doobie, started being a Hollywood, started with hoes. He probably still had his hands in whatever he was doing, and I can't say what a can or cannot do. I can only say the way I know that he was 1,000 on the pimp tip. And he always was, let me tell you something, man. Once we start rolling, me, Shantae, all the in town, I mean, Dubie, I'm telling you, he was from the other side of town. But he was a Hollywood also, so whenever he came to Hollywood, all the Hollywood would fuck with him. But everybody had a sort of, not everybody, but a lot of us had sort of a spite towards Doobie, because Doobie would profess, man, I ain't got to be no mother pimp. I could be with the whatever the I will stand on the corner and sell pencils if I need to. I'm gonna do my thing until I die. Now, everybody would say, I ain't gonna sell no pencil, all that bullshit. But he didn't sell no pencils either. And it wasn't about him selling no pencils, which is why over the years I had so much respect for him, because what he was saying was he gonna stay down to the end. And believe me, when he passed recently, the way I understand he passed, we hadn't crossed paths in some years. But through Shantae, I've been hearing, he's doing great. But as far as after I left the game, which was almost 20 years ago, he never stopped doing what he was doing. And to my understanding, he was rolling Rolls Royces, had mansions, bought property, all kind of shit. But what I'm really saying, all of that didn't matter, because what he was saying when he said he would sell pencils was that he believed in himself and he was going to do it till he died. And believe me, man, very few of us get to go the way we were known. Otherwise, let's say he was this great guy, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years from now, he done fell off, and then he passed. Okay, we got to bury him, all that stuff. Man, this here, I would imagine he's going to have a Thanksgiving Day parade, because of how the clout that he actually earned through staying Doobie, not through kissing nobody's ass or none of that shit, and not through Rosebud, I'm gonna be like you, none of that kind of bullshit. If he did say it, he said, I'm gonna be you, not be Rosebud, but I'm gonna be a big giant motherfucker in this game. And that's what he did, and he did it his goddamn way, and I love him for it, period. I love that nigga.
Right. Well, let me also ask you, because everybody always got different answers on this. When you first came into Hollywood, what were the big names before you became a big name in the game at that time? Who was big at that time in Hollywood?
Let me tell you something. In the late 70s and early 80s, well, in the early 80s I was too, but in the late 70s when I got there, if they tell you it was not Shantae and Joe Cato, they lying or they jealous.
Okay.
It was Shantae and Joe Cato. Shantae name actually was ringing more than Joe Cato's, but Joe Cato was doing bigger pimping. But I'm telling you, not that he was a bigger pimp, but he had, like Joe Cato, I remember personally counting 13 hoes right on Sunset. That had, and Joe Cato had twin mansions across the street from each other. The hoes lived in one and he lived in the other. He had the Corniche and a Silver Cloud. He had a lot of shit. And when he passed, to show you what kind of he really was, people think pimps ain't shit. When this passed, he was in the hospital, and they told him that it was nothing they could do. That he had like under a month to live. And then he told the doctor, well, let me go home. He said, hey, you can't go home. You got to be in hospice. And he said, nah, man, I'm just taking up space here. Somebody need this bed. That he said that. He told the doctor, I don't want to stay here and take up space. Somebody need this bed. If I'm not going to make it, shit. Fuck it, I'd rather die at home. And died like that. Shantae, he's still here. But I got so much from him as far as how to really, really pimp. I didn't really fuck with Joe Cato like I with John Shantae.
Right.
But Shantae, his name, everybody hated him. And Delano, Hollywood Delano, really put me up on Shantae, and he told me, man, when we got ready to go to Hollywood, man, I'm gonna go up to the Hollywood, man. It's just Shantae I've been telling you about, man. That knock everybody off, man. He said, I said, I want to meet that. He said, yeah, but I hope you don't meet him serving you. So I went to Hollywood. I'm, first month I want to meet the Shantae, and I met the. We get to kicking it and end up being tight. But what I'm saying is, I was living in motels. I had a white. She was paying me like a mother, but I was living in motels. So when I started working with Tay, I went to his house, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, well, where's this taking me, man? We going up this hill, this big old fucking hill, he turning all these goddamn corners and shit, like a maze in this bush, and we end up at this house. And I said, nigga, when I get out the car, before I went in, I said, did you live here? He said, yeah. What you think? So we go in, laid out, sunken living room, powder blue, motherfucking shag carpet all over the place, swimming pool, woo, woo, woo. And I said, nigga, you living like a star. And that motherfucker said, man, with them two white you should be living like a star too. He said, I am a star.
Right.
That shit never left me. Never left me. And that was the first night that me and him really kicked it. I was at his house. I stayed there for like 12 hours. We blowing, drinking, talking shit. And then in the end, I asked him, I said, well, man, why does everybody tell me not to with you, that you're a cross artist and all that shit? And then he started, yeah, they say that because I done knocked all them off, be with me and say I get in their business, but what they do is go home talking about me and then just get interested in me. They send them to me. And I looked at that and I started laughing. I said, that's why I'm with you. Do not spare me. He said, you crazy. Yeah, he was giving me my props. I passed my little test with that, because Pimps ain't gonna talk to you, just to be, be real and talk to you and tell you some shit just because you asked it. You gotta be a deserving motherfucker. And once me and that nigga started riding, I learned a lot about being a motherfucker. Because at the time I met him, I was just coming up. I had just bought me a new 78 Fleetwood, and got me two hoes, got me a little apartment, and but I wasn't doing shit. When I met him, man, that motel mentality left me, because he let me know how far you can go. He never wanted to do shit on a bare minimum. It was always the magnanimous thing, man. When I'm telling you, man, I barely knew this motherfucker, but I liked this man. He was a motherfucker to me. And it was his birthday. And he said, man, we need to do something. Because we had started rolling together, and I'm coming up. He took me to where he bought this jewelry, I had bought some of this jewelry, and I'm starting to look fly. And he said, we need to do something. And I say, what? He said his birthday was coming, April 29th. That's his birthday. Again, let me tell you something. We rented the mother Beverly Wilshire. We rented a suite, the Don Pepe suite. Because damn the $2,000. This was back in like 78. I mean, this was a cold suite. We hired the goddamn magician, the caterers. We hired all the entertainment, and we told them, if you fucking bring some money or your wallet besides your ID, you cannot come in, because everything was on me and Tay. The food, the place, the blow, the weed, because we was pimps. We wasn't trying to charge no motherfucker to come have no fun. We giving a party for pimps to come have fun, so all you got to do is bring your bras if you want to. If you don't want to, don't. But don't come in here trying to buy nothing. That's an insult. And, we had the motherfucking valet out there parking, motherfuckers. I mean, this shit was Shantae's idea. I didn't really know to do this shit this kind of way. But from that, I learned. One time was all I needed. And I knew how to, think for the next one. The next motherfucker said we rented the whole candy store. The whole candy store, which was the most popular club in Hollywood. And we told them motherfuckers, if you want to come on the invitations, go leave, all this shit. If you want to come, you got to be in the tux and your bitch got to be in gowns. We had a lot of them. Man, you can't tell them how to dress. Man, we can tell you how to dress that I said because we want to get something big and important for us. We ain't going to no goddamn Academy Awards and none of that bullshit. So let's get something big for us where you got to be dressed and you got to be formal. All the drinks was on us. I mean, that shit cost us like $12,000. That was way back then. So what I'm saying is I learned a lot of shit from different people. But Shantae, I learned the most as far as what I learned. But Joe Cato, Hollywood Delano, Hollywood Gene, I mean, all these gave me game, because I wasn't ashamed to get it.
I hope you guys live as long as you want and never want as long as you live, man. Y'all be blessed now.